And we're live. What's going on, y'all? This is Montre Bible. Yes, that's my real last name. Chilling with my homegirl, Nikomo. I think if some of y'all saw some of the clips that we had a little happy hour chat, so I thought I'd do it again. And so you guys could see it live. Um, we're just going to be talking about just some things going on in the world. Like we just had 4th of July, right? How
Yeah.
was your 4th of July, Nikomo?
It was like every other day, except it sounded like bombs over Baghdad over here because I'm over here off of I'm on Capitol Hill right now,
Right.
and so all the fireworks last
Just
night.
already popping off.
Yes, and they still are. So that was about it. I stayed in the house, had a little drink, and just stayed.
Hmm.
Didn't want to be bothered with a lot of extra, and I don't tend to celebrate anyway. I just was glad to have a day off. So
Exactly. I took the day off and I took today off.
yes.
Um, Yesterday I was hanging out at the pool, you
Hmm.
know, hanging out with the neighbors. Don't get to see them all at the same time, all the time at the pool. We got a pretty nice community here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they were
Dallas
popping
are
fireworks too, but I didn't see a lot. And I'm in Texas, so it's about to rain. We had that hurricane coming close to
mm,
us. So it's really cloudy. So they say it's probably going to rain today. So maybe that'll keep the firework people at bay. And then next week it's supposed to rain again.
yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be pretty chill. I think with fireworks. We got
Yeah.
CC in the house. What's up, CC?
See, I
Yeah.
think I saw you in your 4th of July bathing suit. I said, no, hold on,
Yes.
thirst trap. Okay. What you out here trying to do to the people?
Bringing the legs out.
I meet out.
I'm pretty skimpy with my wear, so especially in the summertime, I'm like, this
Yeah.
is my only chance. So
Yeah.
yeah, I showed the kids a little something.
Yeah. You give people what they want
All the
every
young folks, so I still got it. No,
yeah. You got to
it
do
was
it.
fun. It was fun. We saw a lot of folks came out to the pool. Um, speaking about kids, there was this one lady. She brought her two bad little boys to to the pool, and they were splashing people. If y'all got kids, please
Please.
discipline your kids because
Please.
she was letting them splash everybody, and they were literally doing it on purpose. They were like 10 years old. These kids know better, and you know how adults will kind of like we'll be in the pool and we're not doing anything. We got our drink. We're sitting in the pool, not we're not diving or anything. They are diving like right next to us, splashing. We're all like, and we're looking at the mother like,
You
what
gonna
you
say
gonna
something?
you gonna say something?
They like she like because
They
I'm sick
just
of it
playing, right?
anyway.
I had to
They-
give one a good glare.
right.
I gave
Sometimes you
him,
and they know what it means. Hey,
I gave him that look, and he was like, "What,
you know what
Lord?
that means. Get over there and sit down.
Sit down somewhere." I'm serious. I'm like, listen, getting pool water all in my drink
All
at the
about drink
pool.
pool water and
Yeah.
piss water. You know, it's it's pool water and piss water all in one.
Oh gosh.
I'm
It's
I'm so like I don't know. I think COVID did something to me because when it comes to like pools and stuff like that, I'm so
mhm.
like icky about it now.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't think twice about it at first, but now like everything is icky to me. Like going bowling, like why are you sticking your
Sticking
fingers
your
in holes?
fingers in there.
Yeah, like why? Why is that what you're choosing to do? That's not the supposed to do that. Like I'm so icky now about stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You want to bring your own bowling ball.
yeah, I don't. And I ain't even gonna do that. Get away from me.
But she
Um,
she had the nerve that she was like, I'm sorry. They get a little jealous because you talking to me. It's like, girl, I don't want you.
ma'am,
Tell your kids that they're fine.
they're safe. They're safe,
They're
madam.
okay. They'll be fine. My son get a little jealous because you over here talking to me. I wasn't even really talking to her. I was just listening to her.
Right, right. He
I
ain't
was
got to be jealous, honey. He can come sit
right.
right here. We'll be
He's
fine.
fine. Yeah. Because we were barbecuing at my
Mhm.
apartment complex, and we even offered. He said, "Hey, you got your kids here. We got plenty of hot dogs if they want." They said, We don't want none of that. I said, oh, these kids is bold.
What you want, ugly? See, that's my problem. Listen,
See,
no.
look at there. You would have went in on them. I
That's
said,
my
bring the hot dogs back.
put them back. Put them back. Put them
We try to
back.
be nice.
I'm gonna lick on all of them. You can't have none of
Right.
them.
We try to do a peace offering with these 10-year-olds.
Right.
And it was like, we don't want none of that. Oh,
Mm-mm.
okay.
That ain't
Yeah.
my cup of tea no more. That's not my ministry. It ain't my ministry dealing with
The
kids.
children's ministry is not mine. I did my time.
I
I had
listen.
working with kids and stuff. I was like, okay. That's when I got
I'm
my first gray hairs.
listen. I'm realizing more and more since I came up here for this summer.
Hmm.
I'm realizing more and more. I made the right decision to get out of education. Like I made the right decision. It's not for me anymore. I don't have the patience for it anymore. Like
Right.
I don't have the amount of reasoning that we have to do now. I didn't have to do all of this reasoning with young people before.
Yeah.
And the amount of reasoning and talking and pleading for children to do what they need to do, to not flunk. Like, I just want you to be able to move on to the next grade level. You're here for summer
Yeah.
school. Like, I shouldn't have to beg you for anything. You
Right.
have 23 days to move on to the next grade level. Why am I begging you? You're gonna flunk. Because I'm not gonna keep begging you to do this.
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
doesn't make sense. Like, parents, please, 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 parents. It's a whole world out there that does not love your kids the way that you do. So please, please love on them enough to give them some discipline. And
Exactly. They need to be prepared for a world that may drop them, like for real.
oh yeah,
If you
yeah,
act crazy, like everybody's not gonna be as nice as your mama when you turn 18.
that's right. And they don't care about you, not gonna love on you, not gonna have your best interest in mind.
Mm-mm.
They're just not gonna do it. And I think
Exactly.
I know parents are trying their best to love on their kids and maybe even possibly give them things that they didn't get, maybe the type of attention that they didn't get, or even maybe, I don't
Right.
know, shoes, toys, experiences that they didn't get. And I understand that, but there's
Hmm.
also the discipline aspect and getting them prepared for a life without them that I don't think that's happening a lot now. So,
Yeah. Exactly. I think there's a difference between discipline and abuse. And I think a lot of times we think that, oh, I can't do that to my child because that's abuse. And I don't want them to go through whatever trauma that I went through.
right.
But if you don't discipline the kids, the government will. So if they think that they can just go and do whatever, especially young boys,
Mm-hmm.
young boys, as they get older, as they get into their adolescence, they stop listening to mama as much and they think they're running that because that's that little boy testosterone thing. They start feeling like I'm a man.
Right, right. Yeah. But the
You're
girls are doing it too. The
Yeah.
girls are I don't know what happened, but the girls are bucking the system so much,
Hmm.
but not in a positive way. Like buck the system, but
Right.
like don't buck the people that's trying to help you succeed.
Exactly.
What I'm
Exactly.
saying? So the girls are getting there, and I don't want to generalize it, but a lot of what I have seen is a lot of friend type behavior when it comes to parenting
Mhm.
versus parenting. And
Right.
so then when they get a little bit, all of that, it's cute when they little. And then when she turned 15 and she talking to you the same way and she cussing at you now at 15 and she's looking more and more like an adult. Now you
Hmm.
want her to stay in a child's place. Well, she never should have been out of a child's place. She should have always been a child. You allowed her to be adultified. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think we're seeing a lot of that with our young girls, and I hate that for them because the world
Mm.
already, especially young Black girls, adultify them so quick.
Yeah.
Expect for them to have more, um, expect them to be able to think like an adult and make decisions as adults will make them when they're children. They're
Right.
children. So I hate it for the young people, and I still love them, but I don't have the patience, and I'm willing to hand over the baton to all the willing spirits and souls out there willing to take over.
Did you hear about that teacher that got caught having sex with a 12-year-old
I
in
did not.
Baltimore?
No,
I don't
I
know if
didn't.
I can find a story. The girl, she was 12 years old. I'm not going to name her name for whatever reason, but she ran away from home, basically,
Mhm.
12 years old. And she had been talking to this guy who was 22 years old. And you know, everyone's living, but you know what? Back in the day, I heard about girls having boyfriends in their 20s when
Yeah,
I was in high school.
yeah,
So I think it's something that's been happening in the black community for quite some time.
yeah.
But this Baltimore teacher, he got caught having a relationship with a 12-year-old, and he's arrested right now. But also, that girl, she ran away to
Mm-hmm.
go be with her boyfriend, and they got caught.
Of
So
course.
it's a horrible, messy mess. Of course,
Mhm.
he's old enough to know better.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, but also these. Once again, that's a whole that you have these kids who think they're grown and don't realize how dangerous that is.
Yes.
Talking to adults or thinking that they can,
Mm-hmm.
like engage in a relationship. But we've seen it before. We've seen it before. So it happened in Baltimore, and now this young man, because I look at him as a young man because he's
Yeah.
20 something. Life
Mm-hmm.
is pretty much done.
Wrap. And not
It's
to
a
be
wrap.
like over a 12-year-old, but literally over a 12-year-old, over
Over a 12-year-old, someone who's
yeah,
very, very immature.
yes, over someone that is literally a child. There's no way
Hmm.
that you could have mistaken them for otherwise. She could have
Hmm.
lied to you, said she was 18, and you
That's
would have
what he
been
said. That's what he said. That's the claim, but
listen,
you never know. You
if
never know.
even if she did, even if she said she was 18 years
You can
old,
tell. You can
when
tell.
you talk to a 12-year-old
They got a mindset.
of a 12-year-old,
Hmm.
you was just being a down and dirty, no good, nasty, nothing. And you was messing with that baby is what you were doing, you
Yep.
know. And I know when all that R. Kelly stuff came, I literally cried when I heard the way people were responding to it,
Yeah.
how they were talking about these girls knew what they was doing and they just fast and they did that. Okay, let's
Yeah.
say they did know what they were doing at 15, 14. Let's say they did say, "Ooh, R. Kelly, fine. I'ma go be with R. Kelly." Let's say they did do that. He's a grown man.
Hmm.
Should know better, even if they didn't. And the fact that they are putting the blame on children,
You can't. You can't.
you can't. You can't.
Mm-mm.
You can't do that. And I even I literally cried because I'm like, I hope none of your daughters hear you. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because if something ever goes on with them, they are never going to feel comfortable enough to tell you about it because they
Well,
hear how you think about it.
but you also have to understand like adolescent libido.
Mhm.
And there is, of course, there you can think that they know what's better, but the adolescent libido is crazy. It's
Yeah.
out of control. This is why we tell young people, don't do it right now
No.
because you ain't thinking straight, right?
No.
And then you have an adult who's encouraging it, whether it's a teenage girl or a teenage boy, because we see that too,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
where young boys are being taken advantage of at a very young age, and that's negative as well. Let's talk about
Yeah.
that, where they feel like their first experiences are women coming after them
Yes.
and giving them stuff and doing all this stuff. And they're like, oh, and a lot of guys you'll see on social media be like, yeah, I wish that was me.
Right. Right. Oh, I remember having a teacher, Miss So and so in third grade. She was,
Yeah,
and it's like
but it's negative. It's
it's
negative
so
because it creates a negative preconception of what women are. And so
yes.
when he gets 19, 20, he's
Mhm.
going to expect the women his age to do that
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's what he had at 12. So he's like,
Mhm.
what you gonna buy me? What you gonna give me? You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
all of this stuff. Why is she chasing me?
And
So
it also opens them up because we know how sex is a portal. It also opens their impressionable spirits up to things that they are not prepared for. And so
exactly.
when you have boys who are having sex with women, right? And
Hmm.
you think that they are going to go through life and have a normal relationship with sex, a
No,
normal relationship with the opposite sex or even the same sex. If you think that they can be taken advantage of at the age of 8, 9, 12,
and
and
still be normal.
on,
Like thinking straight about
yeah, you
relationships.
really
No.
think that that's going to happen? You think that we are going to have emotionally mature men?
Mm-mm.
And you gave them high fives when you found out a 18-year-old had sex with them when they were 12?
Yeah, they're not
That's
going to think straight,
no, ever.
especially if they were uncomfortable with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the male side of it,
Yeah.
where a
Don't
lot of
take care
guys,
of it
yeah,
enough.
they have a lot of issues.
Yeah. We don't
But
take
back,
up for boys enough.
huh? What'd you say?
We don't take up for boys enough. We don't cover
No.
them enough. We don't protect them enough.
Yeah, a lot of young boys have been taken advantage of. I've
Mhm.
dated a few. Seriously, they got some issues. I'm like, man, you need
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
therapy, like for real.
Mhm.
Like, have you thought about taking therapy? It's
Right.
either, and it comes out, it expresses itself. I think with males of being hypersexual is just like they need it all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, nobody has time for
Right.
that.
Right.
I have a job.
Right.
But yeah, that's what, but you see that in with males where they really can't express themselves outside of just being sexual.
Sexual.
So
Right.
it becomes a problem.
Mhm.
But speaking about Fourth of July, to wrap it back, wrap it. Can't get my words out because it's happy hour, so I'm already drinking.
It is happy hour. Yes.
So I was thinking, could this be the last Fourth of July we have?
Mm.
And I'm
Mhm.
telling you why. I'm going to tell you why.
Tell me why.
Could
Talk.
this be the last Fourth of July that we have for America? All
Mhm.
right. So I was telling you I wanted to talk about Saturn retrograde. I'm
Mhm.
a big astrology freak,
Mhm.
and Neptune retrograde. And right now they are retrograde in Pisces. No big deal with that, other than with it being in Pisces, this is the last moments of the year where they will be in Pisces, where it's been mostly people focusing on spirituality and their spiritual life. Okay,
Mhm.
we've seen a lot of mm, fake preachers and pastors and stuff get exposed with
Right.
Saturn in Pisces.
Mhm.
Neptune in Pisces brought a lot of AI stuff and illusions.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is now everything is retrograde and it's going to stay retrograde to the end of the year. And then Neptune will move into Aries
Mhm.
in 2025. And also Saturn will move into Aries. Wait, I didn't check to see when Saturn was in Aries. Saturn in Aries. Let me check online real quick. But I do believe it's in 2025 as well. What year? I'm online. But I wanted to talk about what that means.
Mhm.
Okay, so the last time Neptune was in Aries, it was not in our lifetime.
Okay.
Okay, so and the last time Neptune was in Aries, we had the Civil War.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
think about that. What's going on with the country right now,
Mhm.
and what happened the last time Neptune was in Aries? So we had the Civil War.
Okay.
Now, when Saturn was in Aries, this was back in 1966,
Mhm.
and we had something called the 6 Day War.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've never heard of the 6 Day War. Have you?
No, never heard of that. What was
Never
that?
heard.
Yeah, never
I
heard of
have
that.
no idea. Okay, so Saturn will go into Aries on May 24th, 2025. Let me check that out. 6 Day War.
State war. I never heard
Six
of
Day
that.
War, 1967. All
Ooh,
right, go.
my ears ringing.
Hmm?
My left ear start ringing.
Oh, that's the Lord trying to tell you something.
Is it the Lord?
All right. I'm looking at Wikipedia right now. The 6 Day War, also known as the June War, 1967, Arab Israeli War. Uh
Oh,
oh. A third Arab Israeli war was fought between Israel and the coalition of Arab states, Egypt, Syria, and Jordan from the 5th to the 10th on June 1967. Look at
Mm.
what's going on in the world right now,
Yeah.
Israel and the Middle East. So, be that Saturn goes into Aries in 2025, Neptune goes into Aries in 2020, no, 2025. But the last time they were in these places were in different periods of time. So, Neptune was in Aries during the Civil War, Saturn was in Aries during the 60s, and now they're both in Aries in 2025.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're going to have a war.
Yeah.
And
Do
Saturn,
you
go
do you
ahead.
think okay, so I am probably a conspiracy theorist. And
Most of them are true.
right. Do you remember when we were kids and they were broadcasting a war? Do you remember that? Was it the Gulf War, or they were literally showing footage live as this war was happening? Do you remember that?
I kind
I
of remember the Gulf War. We had to write a paper about it in junior high. Our generation, we just been through wars and wars and wars, and so they all kind of
Yes,
blend
we've
together.
been to wars, we've seen them, and I cannot
Mhm,
remember. I was young. I probably was in middle school or something like that when I just remember seeing these images, like
mhm.
on the news, maybe CNN or something like that. I just remember seeing these wars, real live footage, and then we would hear about reporters being, killed during these. I don't know. They were reporting on the war, and
Mhm.
I wonder now, looking back at that, how much of that was true?
I'm
Do
not
you see what I'm
sure.
saying?
I have heard about the news making up things, especially back then, just
Mhm,
to scare people. Of
mhm.
course, at around 13, 12, I really didn't care about the news.
Yeah.
I only knew about it because our teachers would tell us to write a paper about it to keep up with
Mhm,
Desert Storm or uh, what was going on in the Gulf. What was it
mhm.
called? Desert
Maybe
Storm and Desert Shield. There
there's
was a lot of stuff.
there was a lot of stuff going on. We would see
That's
those things.
when George Bush was president, the
Yes,
first one.
yes, and we
Hmm.
would see those things. So I guess I disassociate myself from it. I kinda
Hmm.
go into delusion when it comes to talks of war, because I also feel like it's also rumors of
Yeah,
war. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And I wonder how much of it is you know
Orchestrated.
you know how you can watch a movie and it could be so real? I wonder how much of what we see or what we are fed is actually happening, because there's no way for us to really know.
Right.
There's no way for us to really know. So when it comes to war, or when it comes to like fear mongering, I feel like
Yes.
US does a lot of fear mongering.
Hmm.
Um, tell me
I,
what you think
I
about
think
that.
it. Yeah, I think it happens on both sides
Mhm,
because not that I peruse the dark web, but I I do join channels, especially on whether it's Telegram or whatever, and I see videos that you probably can't post on Facebook or
mhm,
Twitter or even YouTube at that.
mhm.
And I see fakes on both sides. And now with AI, you can do a lot.
You could do a lot.
You can fake a lot with AI. And I'm
Yeah.
like, usually you have to, before you get emotional about something, you're like, I'm gonna share this. You gotta like say, okay, when was this video taken? What context was it? Is it recycled? Is it from another event?
Yep.
Um, uh, Especially if it's blurry. Because I'm like,
Yes.
why is all these videos blurry? Does nobody have a decent phone?
N Never. It's never decent. It's never
Never.
decent, ever.
It's
Never
like
decent.
I Middle East got all this money, but y'all ain't got a decent phone to record.
Where the camcorders at? I mean,
Get
you
a
ain't got
camcorder. Just get a
nothing.
camcorder, a HD camcorder. Record that. So a
Like
lot of times you see videos and they are artificial or they're generated. And I'm not saying that about either side,
right, right,
but I
right.
know it's been done before,
Yes.
and it can be done again.
Mhm.
Um, so uh, when I see too much footage, I am kind of concerned. Also, when I don't see enough footage,
Yeah.
I'm very concerned.
Mhm.
Like Ukraine, I ain't
Yeah.
seen any footage of Ukraine, but we keep on pushing money that way.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, what's
Absolutely.
going on over there?
Right.
So I think most of the Black community doesn't care about what's going on in Ukraine, but it's neither here or there because we're like, what's going on here?
I
But
feel like most of us feel like we got our own war. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And it's a daily war that we have in the country that we have been sent off to fight for, and that has been built off of our backs, that still treat us inhumanely and treat us like animals. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like we feel like, yeah, we got our own war that's going on, and and the terror that happens against us is often legalized. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? And so when it comes to other people, I don't think it's like the thing of like, oh, we don't care, but it's like, do we have the
preoccupied.
do I really have the capacity to care about that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not that it's not important, or it's not that it's not happening, or but it's like, man, we got stuff happening right here affecting us daily. And you
Mhm.
really want me to spend my time thinking about something that's, feels years away from me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah. Well, it's spending your money, that's for sure.
but
Your tax
damn
money.
sure. But damn sure.
Ooh. So
Mhm.
yeah. So there's that. But that got heavy really quick. But yeah, that was my quick and dirty about astrology and what's going on
Mm,
with the world. And I'm like, 2025 is going to be a doozy for a lot of people.
yeah.
And it doesn't matter who becomes president, really. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. And it's not the doom and gloom, but I think we just have to prepare for just there's got to be some type of what else? There's got to be some type of economic issues.
Oh yeah.
It's so just get ready for it. 2025 onward into 2030 is going to be maybe a harsh time for that generation, for the young people. I don't know
Mhm.
if you heard about a lot of young people upset that they were uh, voluntarily, or they were automatically not
Oh, and
drafting people but registering them for the
yeah.
military,
Mhm.
which they think is going to create the draft again. And a lot of young people are, how can I say this lightly, wussies, and they don't they don't want to fight. They're like, I'm not gonna fight.
They like,
It,
is it a TikTok dance that goes to that? Like, I don't.
they're
Can
gonna
we
be
all
doing TikTok. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Gen Z is not ready for that type of action
no.
at all. So I really feel sorry for people who do have children in that age range because they are definitely a target. But I said this before. I said Gen Z ain't gonna last. That's why they call them Z. And
Mhm.
we're gonna have to reboot with Gen Alpha, which are the
Mhm.
babies.
Mhm.
They're like 12. The bad kids I was talking about. Them
Yeah. Do you think that this is we talked the other day a lot about population control.
Uh-huh.
And do you think that this generation is the generation that they see as being trouble?
I see them as dispensable. That's what, not me, but I think the
Yeah.
government. Um, because yeah, population control. I think population control is basically the answer to every question in a bad way. Because every time we think of like, what is going on?
Mhm.
What's going on with the world right now? It's gonna you just say population control. That's what they're doing. If it's a disease, it's population control. If it's
Yeah.
war, it's population control. That's my opinion.
Mhm.
uh, hopefully YouTube does not use like
Shut you
front
down.
misinformation. Is just my opinion.
Yeah.
YouTube do not
They
do
don't have
not.
a storm in my damn door.
Right. FBI.
All right.
FBI. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I got a little bit of that conspiracy kind of thing going on too. But I'm just like, hey, most of it I see it as population control. They have not been quiet about trying to reduce the population um, to a certain extent. Um, I
You know what's
mean,
strange about
whether
that?
making it hard to have kids
Yeah.
or if you want to have kids where it's medically impossible for you to have kids because your health is bad. So
So with that, what do you think the idea of taking away the rights to birth control and abortion comes in? Because one hand there's like, yes, population control, but then on the other hand it's like, and you can't have birth control and you can't say that, oh, I don't want to have this baby, so
right.
have an abortion. So like, what is the point of taking away those rights if
Hmm.
the thought
So
is
so you
population?
have the right and the left, which are very extreme. And you know me, I'm always like, this has a heavy in spiritual practices. You have the right hand path and the left hand path,
Mm-hmm.
but they always say do the middle path, right? You just
Yes.
go down the middle. So you got to find a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the right is going to take it away completely,
Mm-hmm.
which takes away rights and stuff. Which, like, if you're early term abortion, you can't do it. They're gonna like there's no way. But there's nothing biblical that says that, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing. There's
Right.
not like they can try to justify it, but in a religious way. But early term abortion was done in the biblical days. They had
Mm.
chemicals and stuff that they could drink and do that.
Yes.
Um,
All plants.
yeah, late term abortions I don't agree with. I think most people are like that, where they
Yeah.
don't agree with like aborting a baby at 9 months or
Right. Right.
that's a
It's
little
literally got face, fingers, toes.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting into child sacrifice at that time,
Right,
which
right,
is
right.
another spiritual practice
Yes.
which we gotta be careful about. And the
Yes.
reason why I don't talk a lot about it because a lot of people are not aware of spiritual practices
Mhm.
that child sacrifice still happens to this day. That people do it on the low because it's
Yeah.
called the occult, which means
Yeah.
we don't talk about it.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
does happen. Like people do sacrifice children. And
Right.
they do that for spiritual power, they do it for monetary power. So
Mhm.
it means nothing, especially when you have da, 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 undocumented people.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
means nothing when you have undocumented people. So if they die, who
Who
cares?
knows? Who
Who
knows?
knows? I
Right.
don't care. A lot of children are coming into the country.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that scares me as well on a spiritual level because I'm like, God, and I do prayers for children all the time because they are the ones who are going to be the victim of that.
Yes.
But yeah, I think early term abortion should be allowed.
Mhm.
So anybody talking about you can't take a pill for an abortion, it's like really, really, because let's look at it in a spiritual sense. On a spiritual sense, they say that the soul doesn't enter into the child until the first breath.
Mhm.
Now, some people will say the first breath is when they're born. Children
Mhm.
are breathing way before that. It's when
Right.
the lungs are developed. And
Right.
that's
Right.
usually about the lungs are developed around 18 weeks, 18
Mhm.
weeks, somewhere around that. And what is 18 weeks? What is that? 3 months?
3 months.
3 months. So the 18 weeks, the lungs are developed. The soul is usually there's another name in Hebrew about the soul, and it means the breath.
Mhm. Yes.
And it doesn't enter into the body until there is a capacity for the soul to come in.
Mhm.
So that's spiritually my spiritual convictions. And I'm not Christian or Jewish or anything, but I've studied
Right.
it and I
Right.
have a knowledge of everything. Well,
Right.
not everything, but I'm still learning that the spirit is about breathing. This is why we meditate. This is why
Here it
we
is
breathe
breath.
in, breathe out. Yeah, we're bringing in that energy of the soul and igniting the soul. So the soul does not inhabit the body until around the 18th week or the third month. So
Mhm.
that's where you hear more people say before the first trimester
Right.
because the
Exactly.
soul is not there yet. It's just the body developing and trying to create a vessel for the soul.
Mhm.
But I heard this too. Gosh, I wish I could find all these references. You bring up random stuff, and I have to think about it. When before when a woman is pregnant, the
Mhm.
soul is not inside of her yet.
Mhm.
It is outside of her.
Okay.
So it's like it hasn't like quite gotten
What
into
is
the.
just it's just orbiting around
It's
her, waiting.
orbiting around her, and this is
That's
why
what.
women feel that sickness and stuff, because you literally have a spirit
Mhm,
that is like around you, and
mhm,
then it inhabits you, and then you start taking traits of the child, and this is why you get different cravings, or different personalities. Like my mom used to say she was more angry and mean when she was pregnant with my sister.
mhm,
My sister was a very aggressive person. Versus with me, she said she liked to eat jalapenos and spicy food, which I do eat to this day.
mhm,
I
mhm.
eat a lot. I love spicy food. So it's really weird that like that child's spirit and their soul will have an influence on the mother as they're developing, and you can feel that child, not only physically but also spiritually. So there's something to that.
Yeah.
Mm,
There's also a belief that the soul chooses the parent, um, chooses the parent, and
mhm,
or whatever contract they signed or whatever they needed to receive when they come here. And I think some people feel that when it comes to abortion, which I am not, I am pro what you need for your life, right? That's
mhm,
I feel like you have the right to make decisions.
right.
You have the right to deal with whatever consequence comes from that decision, right?
Well, that's life in general.
Right. So I just, yeah, that's life in general. So I'm
Somebody,
a believer of decisions, right?
I remember there was this one girl, I saw her was it, what do the kids do now? TikTok.
See,
She's like she was pro-choice,
mhm,
and she said, "I'm having my baby," and it's like, I thought you were pro-choice. She said, "Yeah, I'm choosing to have my baby."
right. I'm choosing. I think,
That's a
yeah,
part of it.
part of it. You have I feel like people don't understand that you have the right to make choices, right?
Yeah.
And you have the right to receive whatever comes from that. And I think a lot of times what people were saying, I know when I first started hearing before I became an adult and I was so against abortion, I was being fed the thought of, every person has a purpose, right?
Hmm.
When you that make that choice of having an abortion, you're essentially aborting a purpose, right?
Hmm.
Away something that was supposed to be here in this realm, right? And although I get that, right? And
Right.
I feel like, yeah, that's a possibility, right? I also believe that if energy never dies and spirit is energy, right? It'll just come back where it's
It
welcome.
will. It will.
It'll come back in an environment where it's welcomed, because if the purpose is a purpose indeed, then it's not going to go anywhere. It's still going to come and do what it's supposed to do. So if it's not going to be in the vessel of my body, it will be in the vessel of her body or
Hmm.
someone else's body. Because what about women who have, like myself, whose body couldn't hold, right?
Mm.
And had miscarriages, right? That
You would
purpose,
have a miscarriage.
right? You have a
But like
miscarriage.
there's something about that, like even with that experience, like, I
Mm-hmm.
know that's hard for a lot of women, and I've had
Yeah.
some friends who've had miscarriages. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what was the universe trying to teach you at that moment? And it
Right.
was like, why would you even put me through that? What do you
Right.
think?
What was the point? What was the purpose? And it's such a hurtful thing. And I think what I ended up receiving from that was just the thought of, I am not what I contribute to the human race as far as like being able to have babies. I think for women, that is the thing that society tells us makes us a valuable woman, is
Hmm.
to be able to, one, get married, and two, have children. And that's what makes us a valuable woman. It doesn't matter about your degrees, honey. We don't care about your brain. We care about if your
Hmm.
womb can carry and push forth a child. And so I think that I had to redefine what womanhood and success meant for me, so that
Right.
I could be okay with my body doing what it felt it needed to do. And who knows, I could have carried full term and died on the table. You know what I'm saying? My body did what needed to have happened. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so I think that we have to get to a point where we are not attaching our worth to pregnancy,
Mhm.
our womanhood to pregnancy. I know a lot of people will go and have that conversation of what's a real woman and what's not a real woman. If you can't have kids, then you ain't no real woman. Well, bitch, I got a whole vagina and I was born with it and I couldn't have kids. And you can get
Right.
off my nuts about me being a real woman. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right. Right.
like, you just have to like redefine those things for yourself and not get attached to what society says you should be.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't think you should have children unless you can actually give them something to add.
That
As a
part.
man, of course, there's always, you need to create a legacy. But I'm like, if I don't have enough money to take care of me myself, well, I do. But but if I don't have enough to pass on, if I don't have a legacy to pass on, what's the point of me having children? My father died. He didn't leave me anything.
Yeah.
Of course, he had tons of children, and that was during a time where they did that kind of
Mhm,
thing.
mhm.
But I think it's a very disappointing thing to be a parent and you die, and there's nothing to give to your children. There's nothing to pass down to them. If anything, just knowledge or some type of legacy.
Yeah.
If we're just passing down bills, now we got to figure out how to bury you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a good look.
Yeah.
So as a man, that is always what I'm thinking about. Is like, I of course you want your children to be better than you,
Of
or
course.
be in a better place. So, or create generational wealth or a business or something that they can do, and you can't even guarantee that they're going to even want to do that business.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I mean, that's also my old school thinking of trying to keep things going. But at this point, when people are like, "Oh, do you want?" There was a time that I wanted children
Mhm.
because it was biological. I feel like I need to have a
Yeah.
legacy. But it was
Yeah.
like, this world is kind of crazy. I don't know if I would want to raise children in this world.
That part. Right.
It's kind of wild.
Mhm.
So if I did it, it would have to be a different type of world
Yes.
where you have um, more autonomy with
Mhm.
dealing with your children and trying to teach them the way you want to. And I'm sure people still do that,
Yeah.
but they're usually a part of very tight circles. And like what we were talking about in our last conversation, cultish.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
I think about legacy. I think legacy it caught me up for a long time because I was thinking like I won't have children. I'm female, so even if
Mhm.
I were to get married, um, traditionally I would take my partner's last name. Um, and I think, okay, my sister is female,
Mhm.
married, takes her partner's last name, even though she has a child. Her child takes her father's last name. My brother is he has autism and he's very high needs, so the chances of him having children are slim to none. And then so it's three of us. That's a wrap. And so I think about legacy, right? I think about, okay, what about my family? When we're done, we're done.
Yeah.
And so for me, I had to look at even legacy in a different way. I'm legacy, me, myself, and I, and the life that I live. The life that I live, the choices that I make, and what I pour into others, that's my legacy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I may not be able to produce children, but I've spent the last 23 years pouring into children, you know, loving on children and being part of villages for children that I probably will never see again. But that's my legacy, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be attached to another person. And it doesn't, because even like you said earlier, like even if I did have children, who's to say that they would want to run with what I was doing? They won't,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? So I had to redefine what legacy meant to me too, so that I wouldn't get into this thought process of, oh, woe is me, I don't have any kids. We finna die the fuck out. It's like, no, what you do right here, right now, that is purpose, that is legacy. And when you leave here, you've planted enough seeds, you've watered enough seeds, and hopefully there will be people that will come behind you and continue the work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if they don't, you've done what you needed to do for the time that you needed to do it.
Well, and I also believe that we've gotten to a point where we are evolving. Remember, you said spirit and energy, it doesn't die.
Right.
It's so even if you don't have that blood, legacy, the spiritual energy that you put into the world,
Hmm.
the people that you poured into, those are your children. If they're younger people who are learning from you, those are your children. I've worked with young people and I said I've done my time. But anybody that you're pouring into, that you're teaching, that you're saying, hey, this is what I learned, and I hope this can make your life better. That's adding to them. And if they learn from it and it makes their life a little bit easier, then great. You know, uh, and just like I said, you're not forcing your knowledge on people. You're just saying, hey, it seems like we're in this age of communication, the
Yeah.
age of Aquarius, where everyone's sharing their information. So the legacy is, what are you expressing at this time? Like, what do
Yes.
you believe? And is it helping people? And that's my whole point, is like, having being a father or not is not my goal. It's just that, am I making a change with the world? Am I affecting the world in some positive way, not a negative way,
Yes.
bringing people together, or not like, I mean, I can talk about, gender and politics all day, but I'm going to try to find that middle ground of, how do we fix this?
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's where I'm sit. And I know a lot of people like to sit on their sides and say,
Mhm.
pick a side. And I'm like, wait, I can see different things on both sides.
Right.
And that's just how I've always been. I've always been that kind of guy who's always kind of been in the middle. Maybe it's because I'm a Pisces too. Because I'm always like,
Debate, Montre? Were you ever in debate?
yes, I took
Me too.
debate.
Me
So I
too.
had to, I had
Yes.
to be able to know both sides of the
Yes.
argument before I put a rebuttal.
Yes. I
So
think
I
that
think that maybe that comes, maybe,
that,
yeah,
that
maybe it comes.
helps. Right. 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 Because you had to see both sides and have to be ready to speak for both sides without
Mhm.
knowing which side you were going to have to speak for.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of trained us too to be able to look at both sides and take from both and be understanding of both. And I also think that that's just kind of telltale sign of people who sit in duality, right? And
Yeah.
understand duality and are comfortable in that. And I, for one, I'm comfortable in duality. I believe in it. I love it. I sit in it. And I live in it. And I think that's part of it, is being able to see both sides of all things and being able to find value in it.
Yes. Yes. And I'm always very big where on spiritual energy,
Hmm.
and we always talk about the divine feminine,
Hmm.
but on my channel I've always talked about the divine masculine. And if you only focus on divine feminine, you're doing nothing
Right.
at
Right.
all.
At all.
You're
At
just
all.
like, let me just embrace the divine feminine. But the divine masculine, no one talks about that a lot. And what
Nobody
that
talks
is,
about it.
it's about really expressing, taking what you've gained spiritually and doing something about it.
Mhm, mhm.
That's divine masculine. It's it's
Right.
it's saying, okay, now I got the information. How do I take the spiritual information that the divine has given me, the
Yes.
divine feminine has given me, and
Yes.
I make it into something, into this physical world,
Right.
and that do something about it. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what the divine masculine is about.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like I see it as being wisdom in action, right? So you have divine feminine, which is wisdom to me. And then you have the masculine, which takes that wisdom and puts it in action. So it's like wisdom in action. Um,
yes,
and I think that's the simplest way to put it, to think about both of these things being necessary. Um,
yes,
and yes, there are some people who are going to live more on one side than the other, and that happens, right? But I
yeah.
think when, like you said, when we are just talking about, oh, the divine feminine, and you just have to be in your feminine state, and you just like you
You
are cut.
need both. Yeah,
You
you need a
need
balance of
both.
both.
You definitely need both. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're always doing something, but you're not getting inspiration from spirit, you're just
Yes.
just doing stuff out of your own mind.
Mm.
So that's the masculine energy of, I need to do something. I need,
Right.
you know,
Yes.
um, And if you're doing that, man or woman, if you're
Mhm.
not getting inspiration from the divine feminine, which is kind of giving you information that's most of the time it's all over the place, but you're just receiving it.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, okay, well, how do I organize that into my life and make it practical?
Mhm.
That's the divine masculine where you're just like pushing it forward. If you have just a divine feminine, you're just embracing all this energy and you're making up rules as you go. And
Yeah.
I see people do that.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what?
Mhm. Mhm.
I've
Because
seen people.
you're
Oof.
supposed to be able to create, right?
Yeah.
But you have
Yes.
to have the logic, which is the masculine, right? To be
Yes.
able to harness that creativity to make it to where it is purposeful.
Right.
So one without the other is imbalance, and there's no harmony in that. And until we can embrace the fact that we need duality, we need both spirit in us,
Yes.
speak through us, to be through us. Until we embrace that, like, we're going to continue to have an imbalanced world, and
Exactly.
there's so many
Exactly.
people who want to attach energy to body parts. You know what I'm saying? And like, oh, this is what a man does because he has a penis and that's masculine. And it's
Yeah.
like, everybody grow up because it's grown people talking like this. You know what I'm saying? Dig a little deeper. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I really am just asking you to ask more questions and go and find more answers. I'm not saying think like me. I'm just saying ask more questions. Go
Exactly.
go seek some answers. Don't just listen to, these folks who just want to get some viral moments on Instagram. Like, go and search for yourself and see what resonates with your spirit. You know what I'm saying?
What I would say for a lot of young people is not only research, but study the old stuff.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of times with a lot of Gen Z, they're listening to each other, but most of them know about as much as they know,
Right.
which is kind of like the last 20 years, maybe
Yeah.
10. And especially when it comes to gender, and I'm gonna go there because I've
Okay.
said it before in comments, and I'm saying gender is not man and woman. It's not a multitude of things. It is masculine and feminine. That's it. Sex is male and female. Sex is the physical manifestation of gender,
Mhm.
but you can have masculine females and you can have feminine males. We've seen it in
Yeah.
life. So gender is just the energy basically of that person. Does a feminine male equate to a woman? Uh-uh.
No. No.
And
Right.
a lot of people are going to be mad at me for saying that, but hey, I'm just going by the 12 universal laws of the universe. That's what I'm calling for. You
Yeah.
can go and Google it. But um this is just what this is where I've come to since I've been here on this earth,
Mm.
is that there's masculine and feminine. There's masculine and feminine energy. And this is how you create when you balance the two.
Yes.
So that's just where I'm at right now. It's just like there's this balance of energy, and that's how you create. If you're too far uh masculine, you're just gonna have destruction. If you're too far feminine, you're gonna have destruction as well. So you
Yes.
got to find that balance between the two, even within yourself.
Yes.
Even within yourself, you have to balance the masculine and feminine energy within yourself.
Right.
Men who are too feminine are just weak.
Mhm.
Women who are too masculine, they're just like nobody likes them. It's a bitch. But you
No
see it.
bitches.
You see it. You see it all the time. So we got to balance it, right? So,
And
and that's how you create.
I think what we're also getting jacked up is the idea of spirits being equated to roles, right?
Hmm.
We've created gender roles and then we say that that's masculine or feminine. But what you've done is you've created roles for people.
Mm,
And so we have equated the two and saying, like, masculine means taking trash out. And it's like, feminine means wearing a dress. You know what I'm
hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
Like, you are not feminine if you don't cook. And it's like,
Hmm.
some of the stuff is like basic skills that you should have as just an adult who is able to take care of yourself, right? It's
Right,
like,
exactly. You should know how to do that as a person.
yeah, just as an adult person, or a person that has all of their intellect, in place.
I'm gonna share this with you
Okay.
because masculine energy is projective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And feminine energy is receptive.
Receptive, right?
Having a baby is the most masculine thing you can do. Marinate on that.
The most masculine thing that you could ever do is push forth a kid. Do you know how dangerous that is?
Having a baby is the most masculine thing a woman can do. I tell you, there's no man that can do that.
Yes, that is hilarious.
You are pushing
Yes,
out a human being,
yes.
and I'm sure that shit hurts.
Well, listen. So since you said that, I don't want to say women are everything, but I feel like, and I'm gonna go there, okay?
Okay, go there.
So you say having a baby is the most masculine thing
It's
that you
not the
can.
most feminine thing you can do.
It's
It's
not
the
the
most
most
masculine
most
thing.
masculine thing that you could do as a woman.
That's why men get like respect.
Right. You receive as a woman, you receive,
You receive the seed,
yeah, and then you push out,
push it out,
right? So you have done a feminine thing and you've
and a
done a
masculine
masculine
thing.
thing.
Then you become divine.
I was about to say, I feel like the closest thing to God that you will ever get is to be in the presence of a woman. Now, y'all can clock me on that if you want to. Now, whether we receive it or not, whether we believe in it or not, hey D, what
Hey,
I don't
D.
whether you believe in that or not, but I'm just saying, like, when you can take something and make something with it, you
Right.
can take something, you could take a seed and you can grow it.
It's very divine. It's very divine.
Very divine.
But and I'm gonna even backtrack on that
Mhm,
because not backtrack, but I'm gonna even add to it
mhm,
because before hospitals and doctors, who was the only person to receive that baby? The father.
mhm,
And see, that's a nasty thing to happen for a guy.
mhm,
Because a woman, she's bleeding, she's shitting, and then the baby's coming out. So he's getting all of that. So you
mhm.
think about before there were hospitals, who was there? Him.
Midwives,
Well, before the
midwife,
midwives. I mean,
because
yeah, because I'm
because
sure he would say, "Let me get
he,
another woman to do this."
yeah, yeah. Once he saw what happened, he like, no,
I'm out.
people that could do this.
Let me find my sister or my mama.
Right, let me find somebody who could do this.
You right though. You right. But
No.
I was like, before sisters and mamas was involved, it was just gonna be him. If he took his wife out to the country or something, she have a
Mhm,
baby, it's just gonna be him. So he got to deliver what she's pushing, he got to catch it.
mhm,
So he's getting all that on him. So it's almost like he's receiving, and that's the most feminine thing because he's got to sit there and receive it, and it's
mhm,
probably not something most guys want to do,
mhm,
you know,
mhm.
because you got to receive all of that
All of it.
shit, literally.
All, like, literally
And
take,
the baby and wipe it off and
yes.
just be like, hey, okay, and then give it back to the mother.
Right, right, right. That would have been a very interesting time to be in because I would have
Yeah.
liked to see how this came about. Like, how did the midwives come about? How did, was it this thought? Because I don't know how far, I'm not a historian, so I don't
Mhm.
know how far back these things go.
Midwives? I don't
Uh,
know. Did they go back to Africa?
yeah, just thinking about like where you were saying men catching the children. I don't know how far back that would go when you think about like birthing babies because we've never really seen that like portrayed, right?
Right.
Seen that
Well,
portrayed.
we've moved away from rural life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if you got to think, it had to start somewhere
Right.
where you know you just got a man and his wife. Um, but at some point, women are more what's the word? Community. Women are
Yes.
more groups. So the more females you have in your village or your neighborhood, they're going to group together because they understand.
Mhm.
So if they're going to say, they're going to be like, move away because you got you
Get
in
him
the
out
way.
of here. You don't know what you're doing. But I'm wondering though, because I feel like I don't know how many, but again, this is an ignorant statement because I don't know. I don't know. I have not researched, but I'm thinking about how many mothers were present when women were pregnant and knew that they were coming upon delivery. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
how many men were really involved when there's mothers there, right? Because even if there was only one girl, there was a
Right.
mom somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like not to argue me,
Sometimes.
but I mean, like back then, I'm just wondering. I don't recall hearing stories of that. So it would be interesting. I won't say that I will think about that after this because I probably won't. But
Gotta do some homework.
yeah, yeah. I
I'm trying to
listen.
look up some stuff on midwives right now. History of midwives, 1980s.
I
That's
thought about
terrible.
becoming a midwife. I really thought about becoming a
That
doula.
would be something cool to do.
Yes, I thought about becoming a doula, but then I saw something on death doulas, and I was so intrigued by that.
What
Like
is that?
that is when there are people, people who have terminal illnesses, like they
Mhm.
know that death is coming, and you
Mhm.
have someone who is there to usher them into death, mainly like taking care of their issues. You know what I'm saying? Like because you have family stuff, right? And
Yeah.
so kids typically don't want to think about those things when they think that their parent is about to, move on. And so
Right.
you have death doulas that come in and they talk to the family about how this person is going to experience death. What is your medication of choice to get rid of pain?
Mm.
Let's talk about what are you going to do with your belongings here? Is this something that your children are going to split amongst themselves, or do you own this stuff? Who has the information? And there's a black chick, and I can't think of her name. When I find it, I'll send you the YouTube. But
Okay.
even she had a terminal patient who she like walked her through a meditation of it getting dark
Mm.
and about what the spirit would feel like coming from the body. It was very interesting, very, very interesting. But yeah, they're death doulas. And I'm one of those people. I'm not saying that death doesn't impact me in a way that like I get sad or I cry or something like
Yeah.
that. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that like I have a mind that compartmentalizes things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when it's like business got to be taken care of, like that's the focus. I'll give myself a chance to cry later once I feel like the business has been taken care of. And I feel like that's what a death doula does, takes care of the business of death.
Yeah. Because it
That,
happens. It does happen.
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of funny because my guardian angel is actually the angel of transformation and kind of like, I won't say death, but that moment where you kind of pass and they help you pass.
Mm-hmm.
So my guardian angel is kind of like a death doula. I figured that out just calculating it. You can figure out who your guardian angel is by checking your birthday.
I would love to know more about that. I
Well,
don't
I
know.
can find it if you want to know.
I would love, please.
Okay, let me
Please.
see. Guardian angel calculation calculator. There we go. It's on. Who's my guardian angel? I found out my guardian angel is Yaba Mia or Java
Mhm.
Mia, whatever. It's female.
Hmm.
What's your birthday again?
June 27th. You need the year?
June 27th. No, I don't need it here.
Okay.
Do 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 dooby dooby doo. Oh, all right. Should I share the screen? Can I share the screen?
Sure.
Let me see.
I ain't seen you drink in the last like 37 minutes.
I've
So
been I've been drinking. I've been drinking. I've been drinking.
okay. I'm over here on this
Uh,
tequila and I ain't been
I
seeing
ain't
it.
saying you drinking.
My ish is like almost done. I'm gonna have to do like
I
a
got a pee, so we're gonna have to close this out. But I'm gonna show you this real quick. Hold on.
okay.
All right. Can we? All right. I don't know if you can read that, but I'll read it for you.
Okay.
Your guardian angel. This is for June 27th, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. Pahalia. That's a hard name.
Hallelujah.
Pahalia.
Hallelujah.
All right. So it's number 20, the angelic hierarchy. Your incarnation birth guardian angel is Pahalia, whose name meaning one and only God,
Mm,
carries the divine feminine energy. Pahalia belongs to the Order of Thrones, a choir of angels placed under the command of the archangel Benayel. Wow, you got to research that. You're going to do some homework. Uh, when you wish to call on Pahalia through prayer, chanting, or meditation, remember that this is, we'll say her because he said feminine. Her main qualities, powers are courage, determination, divine illumination, protection against bad energies. Ooh, protector. That's that cancer energy you got going on.
that sound right. That sound right.
Mhm. Protection. The thrones. Who are the thrones? The thrones are the angels who hold the secrets of serenity, allowing the individual to fully enjoy life. They are also responsible for releasing all guilt, thereby allowing human beings to free themselves from past faults, enabling them to approach life peacefully.
Hmm.
Okay, what's the role of these? Guardian angel first of three protective angels. I would look up that name. So
Can you put the link in the chat for me?
I'll put the link in the chat. Yeah. But you
Mhm.
could probably look up the name and find out more information.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll put it in the chat. Pahalia. Pahaliah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that is your guardian angel for your birthday. So you can do some research on her because she's
Yeah.
a feminine energy.
What comes
Um,
up as soon as I put it in there is guardian angel of redemption.
oh, well,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, okay, sis. Okay.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
Yes, yes. So you about to what you about to get into? I know you're
Well, it's Friday, so
yes.
I'm gonna see what the folks is doing in the neighborhood and see what the locals are doing.
Yeah.
But I still got some steaks in there that I need to cook up too.
You about to cook up some stuff.
Some steaks. I'm on a new paleo diet, so I'm doing meat and veggies. That's what
Okay.
I'm doing because I
Okay.
got to cut down on the carbs because I was like, why am I bloated all the time?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember about doing a different type of diet.
Yeah,
I like
yes,
that blood type diet.
yes. I'm a blood type O. What are you?
AB.
AB. My sister's a AB.
Duality, baby. I'm telling you. You Pisces, all right? Are you
I'm
Pisces?
Pisces. I'm Pisces. I'm O negative. I can give blood to everybody.
That's my
But
sister. My sister is Pisces and she's oh yeah.
look at there. Look at
Yeah. It's a real thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Synchronicity. There we go. That's why we get along.
Why we get along. Right.
All right. So it is an hour and 8 minutes. So happy hour is now over. Thank you, everybody who joined us. Thank you, Sam. I see Sam. Or no, that's not Sam. That's D. That's D, right? Yeah, she
You
just left happy hour.
you
So
just
we about to leave too.
lead
Actually,
to me.
yeah, keep your drinks going. Y'all have a great weekend and make your reality happen because if you don't do it, then who will?
Bye.